Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the first edition of RotoBaller Radio's Fantasy Football Waiver Wire Series for the 2025 Fantasy Football season. I'm your host, Anthony Aniano, happy to be with you here today as we take a look at players available on the waiver wire as we approach week one of your season. Full disclosure, recording this Sunday, August 31st, so obviously there are still a few drafts occurring over the next couple of days as we get ready for Thursday night's kickoff. Yahoo roster percentages are our talking point, looking at players available in 50% or more leagues. Now, waiver wire for week one is always an interesting one for me. I drafted my team. I like my team. I went in with a plan. Anthony, why am I diving into the waiver wire? Well, maybe injuries occur. Maybe you drafted a Chris Godwin, a Brandon Ayuk. You're putting them on IR, whatever it may be. Juwan Jennings, maybe he doesn't play week one. Jalen Coker, for example, we'll talk about him in a minute. Another player who maybe you had high hopes for and now doesn't look like he's going to be playing. Or maybe you don't treat this as I'm going to add these players. Maybe these players, if they're available in your league, you put them on a little bit of a watch list and you look at not only production but opportunity that they had in week one. And today's show, I focus on wide receivers, running backs, and I do have one tight end I wanted to mention. We'll start at the wide receiver position. I mentioned Jalen Coker. When the Adam Thielen trade went down, I was kind of like, oh, Coker's going to probably lead my list. And then shortly thereafter, he goes on the IR for Carolina with a quadricep injury. He's available in 94% of leagues. Last season, 478 yards, 2 touchdowns, 32 receptions, 46 targets. If you have a deep IR type of situation, Coker could be somebody who could have an impact when he does return. He would have been my top ad. He's not, obviously, because he's not playing for you right now. But just keep an eye on Jalen Coker. A couple of wide receivers, though, to be mindful of. The Houston Texans' second-round pick, Jaden Higgins. Available in 61% of Yahoo leagues. Now, second-round pick, he was the number 34 overall pick. He ran a 4.47 40 at the Combine coming out of Ohio State. Nico Collins, the clear wide receiver, one there. But we know what Houston tried to do last year, right? You had Tank Dell. They traded for Stephon Diggs. They tried to add more wide receiver pieces. It failed. Diggs got hurt. Tank Dell got hurt. So they invested in the draft. Higgins was the first one. Jaden Higgins was the first player they drafted, like I said, early in the second round. He'll be starting opposite Nico Collins with Christian Kirk in the slot. Opportunity for Jaden Higgins. Again, available in 61% of leagues. He opens up on the road against the Rams in week one. Another wide receiver I have high hopes for this year is Marvin Mims of the Denver Broncos. Last season, 503 receptions, 6 touchdowns, targeted 52 times by Bo Nix, 39 receptions. The Denver Broncos open up at home against the Tennessee Titans. Now, Denver gave the contract extension to Courtland Sutton. Again, for them to go to another level, somebody has to emerge as the wide receiver 2 on that team. In the SiriusXM host league, I drafted Marvin Mims, I believe, with like my second to last pick or my last pick. I had Bo Nix as my quarterback. So Marvin Mims, again, opposite Courtland Sutton, has an opportunity. And right now, that's what you're looking for off the waiver wire, players with opportunities to take another step and maybe went under the radar on draft day, but not under your radar. So those two wide receivers, Jaden Higgins, Marvin Mims, my top wide receiver, adds Coker, again, getting taken off that list due to injury. Now, at the running back position, a little different because I look to protect against injuries and ineffectiveness. And that leads me to Ollie Gordon of the Miami Dolphins. He's available in 69% of Yahoo leagues. He's Devon Achan's backup. And we know the story with Achan. He was already slowed by injury this summer. They say he's going to be ready to go in week one. Achan is just not a big enough back to handle a, let's call it Kyron Williams or Jonathan Taylor type of workload. He's going to need to be spelled. And if he does get injured, Ollie Gordon is the next man up. This is a guy in 2023. If he can't come out of college after 2023, he would have probably been a second-day pick, second-round pick, maybe even a third-round pick out of Oklahoma State. He ran for over 1,700 yards with 21 touchdowns. 2024, not nearly as good. His stock dropped, fell to the 6th round to Miami. However, nonetheless, he is Achan's primary backup. And if one of the backups you need to have on your team. If you have HN and you didn't draft Gordon and he's available, go get him now. If you want to, hedge your bet and you have an empty roster spot, Ollie Gordon is available even if you didn't draft HN. Up next is the Houston Texan backfield, and who do you really trust? Joe Mixon going to be out. We don't even know how long. That's how odd that whole thing is. Houston not being clear on the injury situation to Joe Mixon. Then there's Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb, who has knees just as bad as I do, and that, trust me, if you know me, that's not a good thing. But they did draft Woody Marks, okay? 5 years in college, he runs a 4.5 40. He had over 1,100 yards last season out of USC. In 5 years of college, he had 261 receptions, so he can catch the ball out of the backfield as well. Now, you have Nick Chubb, you have Dameon Pierce, and then you have the youngster Woody Marks. Now, if you decide to add Woody Marks, who's only 9% available, he's available in 91% of Yahoo leagues, it's a long-term play. You're playing the long game. I will readily admit it. I don't expect much out of him the first couple of weeks. Houston's going to give the veteran Chubb the first shot at being the primary running back. However, as he shows himself kind of, I hate to say it, a little past his prime, unable to do what he was once able to do, Houston may have no choice but to turn to the rookie. You could get him now probably for next to nothing. If the change becomes official, he's going to cost you something in FAB. Woody Marks is an ad in the deepest of leagues. Woody Marks is an ad if you have larger roster spots and you have an empty spot, or larger rosters and you have an empty spot. But keep an eye on, at the very least, Woody Marks of the Houston Texans available. Like I said, 91% of leagues. Opportunity is what you look for in fantasy football, and Woody Marks may be getting it at some point this season. Finally, the other running back, and Houston, by the way, against the Rams, like I mentioned. Cleveland Browns running back situation is the last one I wanted to mention today, and it's both players, Jerome Ford and Dylan Sampson. Who knows what's going to happen with Quinshon Judkins at this point? Didn't get, no formal charges on him. Still hasn't signed his rookie contract. You kind of got to wash your hands, at least for the first half of the season, on Judkins. So that leaves us with Jerome Ford and Dylan Sampson. Sampson was a 4th-round pick this season, and he's right now rostered in 44% of Yahoo leagues. He's available 56%. Jerome Ford, the veteran, he's available in 58% of leagues. This is the perfect, I can't wait to see what this running back room does week 1. Now, they got a nice matchup against the Bengals. Bengals are going to win. Bengals are going to put up a ton of points. But the Bengals defense is going to be interesting to see if they could stop anybody this year, including Cleveland. Now, Jerome Ford last year, 565 rushing yards, 3 touchdowns. He had 225 receiving yards on 37 receptions. And then you got the younger kind of version of Jerome Ford in Dylan Sampson, a guy who could catch the ball out of backfield, do a few things. Not as the biggest back in the league, but somebody who can be versatile like Jerome Ford. So my question becomes what are we looking for week 1 is what does the breakdown look like in terms of carries, in terms of targets, in terms of receptions? What does the future hold, the short-term future hold for this Cleveland Browns running back room? Both of these players are less than 50% rostered. The question becomes, are you willing to take a flyer on one of them now? If you are, it's probably Jerome Ford. If you need the short-term help, you need a running back for week 1, week 2, week 3. If you want to think a little further down the line, it could be Dylan Sampson, whomever it may be. I drafted Dylan Sampson in dynasty formats. In fact, in some leagues, I got Quinshon Judkins and Dylan Sampson in dynasty formats. But both of those Brown running backs, 1A, 1B, available in more than 50% of Yahoo leagues. And finally, if you need a tight end or you're looking long-term for a tight end, everybody talked about Tyler Warren and Colston Loveland. Well, the third tight end drafted this year was Mason Taylor out of LSU, and he went to the New York Jets. And he's going to be the starting tight end for the Jets, a Jets team quarterbacked by Justin Fields, who does have a reputation on going short and going easy towards his tight end. He loves targeting the tight end position. He did it last year in Pittsburgh. He was drafted 42nd overall, like I said, third tight end drafted last season, his senior year at LSU, 55 receptions, 546 yards. I'm not saying I'm adding him and starting him, but say you drafted only one tight end and you have some room at the end of your bench and you want to take a flyer on a youngster, Mason Taylor is available in 88% of Yahoo leagues. You can take a look at that Jets rookie. The Jets are going to be in desperate need this year for a second pass catcher. Right now, I believe it's Alan Lazard and Josh Reynolds opposite Garrett Wilson. So there is opportunity for somebody to catch the ball over the middle, and it could very well be the rookie tight end that they took in the second round. So to recap, my top ads for week 1 of your fantasy football season: wide receivers Jaden Higgins and Marvin Mims, running backs Ollie Gordon, Woody Marks, and the Browns combination of Jerome Ford and Dylan Sampson, and at the tight end position, Mason Taylor. Folks, don't forget, go to RotoBaller.com right now. Sign up for our fantasy football premium package. Use the promotional code ACES and save at checkout. Lineup optimizers, team sync tools, who should I start, rankings week in and week out, whatever you're looking for, whether you play DFS or season-long formats, RotoBaller.com has you covered. Like and subscribe right here to the RotoBaller YouTube channel, and follow me on X at @ANianoFantasy. As always, thanks for watching, and we will see you next time right here on RotoBaller Radio.